In the world of rock guitar, few figures loom larger than Ritchie Blackmore, whose contributions with Deep Purple and Rainbow reshaped the boundaries of hard rock and heavy metal.
To those of us who know, Ritchie Blackmore means the world. Unlike me, he can actually stand up if he says me, and he's got the goods.
Known for his technical brilliance and often intense personality, Blackmore is equally famous for his deep appreciation of certain guitarists, musicians he believed were able to transcend mere technical ability. Among these, Jeff Beck, Jimi Hendrix, and Eddie Van Halen hold a special place in Blackmore's esteem, each embodying unique qualities that set them apart. Jeff Beck, perhaps the guitarist Blackmore admired most, made a lasting impression early in their careers. The two first encountered one another in the 1960s as session musicians, and it was during this time that Blackmore first saw Beck's rare talent up close. What struck Blackmore wasn't just Beck's technical prowess, though that was formidable, but his ability to express emotion through his guitar in ways that seemed almost effortless.
The Yardbirds started the whole thing rolling. I think it was '64, and I think I was in Hamburg at the time, Germany. And I first heard The Shapes of Things with Jeff Beck playing. And I thought, my God, who the hell is this? This shouldn't be allowed, it's too good.
Beck's control of tone, his manipulation of sustain, and his remarkable ability to move seamlessly from delicate, almost fragile passages to lightning-fast runs made him, in Blackmore's eyes, one of a kind. Beck had a natural ability to make each note count, as if the instrument were an extension of his very soul. Blackmore has spoken often of his awe at how Beck could build emotional resonance with a single sustained note, something very few guitarists could manage. It was this ability, more than anything else, that convinced Blackmore of Beck's unmatched gift.
Amazing guitar playing by Jeff. Jeff cheats on the guitar because he has notes that I don't have on my guitar. So that's okay. You know, I'll let him go on that one. But he knows how to ring a note. His soul comes through his tone as well as his notes. And great player, my favorite guitar player.
Despite his admiration for Beck, Blackmore never shied away from acknowledging the transformative impact of Jimi Hendrix. Hendrix's arrival in the late 1960s sent shockwaves through the guitar world, and even those at the top of their game, like Jeff Beck and Ritchie Blackmore, found themselves re-evaluating their approach.
I was sick when I saw him, I can tell you that. Yeah, I mean, who wasn't? It was like, what the hell am I going to do tomorrow, you know? Get a job at the post office or something, you know? It was hopeless because everybody you talked to, you know, was, hey, have you heard Jimi Hendrix? I said, yes, thank you.
Hendrix was more than just a guitarist. He was a cultural phenomenon, someone whose playing, style, and persona were all interwoven into one powerful statement of artistic freedom. Blackmore, who has often emphasized the importance of a guitarist's personality and individuality, recognized in Hendrix a player who was not simply rewriting the rules of guitar technique, but redefining the very role of the instrument in rock music. Blackmore has been candid about the fact that Hendrix's presence in the guitar world was intimidating, even for accomplished musicians like Beck. Hendrix was not just a technician, but an artist who used the guitar as a vehicle for something larger, an exploration of sound, texture, and performance. His approach was unorthodox, often messy, but always thrilling. Blackmore, never one to give compliments lightly, has repeatedly remarked on how Hendrix's sheer audacity as a performer left a lasting impression, even inspiring him to push his own boundaries further. Though Blackmore admired Hendrix's technical skills, it was his attitude and sense of musical adventure that resonated most.
It was, we were just taking over from in a way from someone like Hendrix. Hendrix was a little bit more muted music, very, very musical, very bombastic, but we kind of tried to develop certain riffs that he had. We did borrow from Hendrix a lot. Speaking was
That
was based on Stone Free, Jimi Hendrix. I really liked his stuff at the time, so... And it was a little bit of Fire. Do you remember Fire by Jimi Hendrix?
The third guitarist who earned Blackmore's deep respect was Eddie Van Halen, a man who revolutionized rock guitar in the late 1970s with his innovative techniques, particularly his groundbreaking finger-tapping method. Blackmore was quick to acknowledge Van Halen's brilliance, recognizing that his influence would extend far beyond the flashy technique for which he became famous. What set Van Halen apart, in Blackmore's view, was his ability to integrate technical innovation with memorable, accessible music. Van Halen's playing was virtuosic, but never at the expense of melody and feel. Blackmore has spoken about how many guitarists who pursue technical mastery forget the importance of emotion and storytelling in their music, qualities that Van Halen never neglected. In addition to his musical prowess, Van Halen's personality also struck a chord with Blackmore. The industry can be filled with inflated egos, but Van Halen, according to Blackmore, was one of the nicest musicians he had ever met. It was this combination of affability, humility, and sheer talent that set Van Halen apart, not just as a guitarist, but as a human being. For Blackmore, this kind of balance between professional excellence and personal warmth was rare in the music industry, and it endeared Van Halen to him even more. What these three guitarists, Beck, Hendrix and Van Halen, represent for Blackmore is more than just technical skill. Each, in their own way, brought something unique to the instrument, something that transcended the typical constraints of rock guitar. For Blackmore, they embody the highest ideals of musical artistry, the ability to communicate deep emotion, to innovate and challenge norms, and to do so with a sense of authenticity and personal expression that goes beyond the mechanics of playing. Blackmore's career, spanning decades and multiple musical phases, from the fiery riffs of Deep Purple to the folk-inspired sound of Blackmore's Night, reveals a musician constantly searching for new ways to push the boundaries of his instrument. Yet, through all his innovations, his reverence for these guitarists never waned. They represented for him the pinnacle of what guitar playing could achieve, an ability to speak directly to the heart of the listener, to create something more profound than just sound. In admiring these players, Blackmore also offers a reflection on his own career and values as a musician. Known for his exacting standards and sometimes difficult personality, Blackmore has always sought something beyond mere proficiency in his playing.
And Ritchie was a figure of mystery and wonder already. You know, Ritchie Blackmore was something incredible. I mean, nobody could play like that in those days.
His own work, from the instantly recognizable riff of Smoke on the Water to the intricate solos of Child in Time, speaks to a musician who is never content with the ordinary. For Blackmore, the greatest guitarists, those like Beck, Hendrix and Van Halen, are not just those who can play the fastest or the loudest, but those who can make the guitar sing, those who can make it speak in ways that resonate with the soul. As Blackmore continues to perform and explore new musical avenues, his respect for these three guitarists remains a cornerstone of his musical philosophy. Their influence is not just a part of his past, but a constant source of inspiration, reminding him, and indeed all who listen, of what it truly means to be a musician.